So, Assalamualaikum. Good morning or evening to you, ma'am. I am Dimacaling nor Hamza from STEM 12-5. In this video, I'll be demonstrating the simple experiment about the properties of solution. So, before I start, let me tell you about the materials that we need for experiment. So, the first thing we need is the small pot. And the next one is the measuring cup or measuring spoon. And the next thing is the spatula. And the most important material that we need from experiment is the water and salt. So let's start.
Create a 5 to 10 minutes video of simple experiments of the following properties of solution that can be done at home using simple household materials or substances, and give a little discussion as to why the respective experiment show the corresponding solution property. So choose one of the factors affecting solubility. So for me, I chose temperature. Generally, an increase in temperature increases the solubility of salt. As the temperature rises, the kinetic energy of the water molecules also increases, allowing more salt particles to collide with the molecules and dissolve. So let's start the experiment. So the first thing we need to do is that pour a 1 cup of water into a heating pan, heat to boiling, and then hintayin natin na kumulo.
A few moments later.
So after several minutes of paghihintay natin, ay kumulo na ang ating ginawang mainit na tubig. So ang next na gagawin ay i-measure kung gaano ito kainit. So kung ilan ang kanyang temperature. So, tinakpan ko ito dahil sa baka kasi maubos ang tubig and also para maka-absorb ng more heat ang ating thermometer. And as you can see, the total measure of our hot water is 90.8 Celsius. So after natin makuha ang temperature ng water, the next thing we need to do is put a 3 tablespoon of salt into the hot water. And then make sure to stir it and also let it boil gently. Then after stir it properly, the next thing we need to do is measure it. So same process lang like sa first step. And then as you can see, the temperature of the salt water increased by 4 point something. So why did it increase? So when you add 3 tablespoons of salt to hot water, several things can happen. It might be salt, it might be increase of boiling point because adding salt to water can raise its boiling point. This means that the water will need to reach a higher temperature to boil. The exact effect depends on the concentration of salt in the water. It might also change in taste and texture. Salt will make the hot water taste saltier. It may also slightly change the texture of the water, making it feel slightly heavier or denser. So after we finish measuring the last one, ang next na naman na gagawin is that uh, mag-add tayo ng 6 tablespoon of salt to the uh, salt water. And the process ay same lang sila ng the previous one. Stir it gently and let it boil gently. So, as you can see, it did increase a lot of temperature. Ito'y dahil sa nagdagdag tayo ng salt sa water. So, nangyari ito regarding the temperature in Celsius, it is important to note that the addition of salt will not change the actual temperature of water. Instead, it affects the boiling point as mentioned above. The initial temperature of the water before adding salt will determine the starting point. So, for example na lang is ito. So, the initial temperature natin is 90 to 95. So, upon adding salt or more salt, the boiling point will increase the normal to 100 plus or to higher temperature. As for the last one, same process pa din. Ang pinagkaiban lang niya is that maglalagay tayo ng mga 9 tablespoon of salt into hot water. So, it would result in a highly concentrated salt water solution. So, the water might become a saturated with salt, meaning that it has the salt as much salt as it can at that temperature. So, as for the temperature, adding a large amount of salt to hot water can cause a slightly decrease in temperature. This is because dissolving salt requires an input of energy, which can cause a slightly cooling effect. However, the decrease in temperature will not be significant and the water will remain hot or boiling. If you need a specific temperature, you need to supply the initial temperature of the water. So as you can see, it did decrease. It's because of the salt, too much salt. And that's all for my video.